gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of Hot Mic. This is the Champs Edition. The 2018 CWL Championship is around the corner, and I'll be joined by four of the best players in the world as we talk through groups, top players on the year, MVPs. We're going to go through a lot of it. Joining me, we've got Censor from Complexity, ACHES from Evil Geniuses, SlasheR from Rise Nation, and Accuracy from Team Caliber. Before we get into it, though, I do want to take a look at the TCL clip of the week. This is Pharaoh from Team Caliber going off. Let's watch the gameplay, then we can chat through it, boys.
Not done yet for TK.
It enables Pharaoh to get set up inside, so despite the fact that Rise have the back spawn, they haven't enjoyed any time in this. TJ gets a couple of kills, but it's still enabled inside the hard point. Him and Kenny just trying to do whatever they can. Kenny drops, Enable still being annoying, and he's annoying long enough for Pharaoh to come off spawn, and now get into position as Pharaoh is snapping everywhere.
That's my hard carry right there.
I've heard you say that about every team member, I think, at some point. But I guess what I do want to talk about, well, here he absolutely beams someone across map to kind of end this clip, but for Pharaoh, that's easily the best we've seen him all year, right?
Yeah, definitely. He had an insane Unreal event.
And it has to feel pretty good for you heading into Champs, knowing that he's hit that form?
Fantastic. Love it.
I'm curious, SlasheR, what was that like for you? Because in the grand final, I think if I were going into that, my biggest fear would be Accuracy and Kenny, right? They've been kind of the hard carry duo throughout the year. Were you prepared for that Pharaoh to kind of come out during that final?
I mean, it was a little surprising for sure, but I mean, you got to give it to him. He had the best event of his career so far. Possibly he might ever have, because he played Unreal. So, I mean, I'm looking to see how he plays this event and see if he can keep it up.
Well, I think that's a question for a lot of us. Is that going to be a consistent thing we see from him now? Is that the breakout moment for his career, or is that a, I don't know, one-off where he dominates? But we'll find out. And hopefully we'll find out at Champs. But, guys, I want to get right into the groups. Can we take a look basically at the full 32 teams, how this is going to break down as we get into the biggest event of the year? Because we've got a lot to get through. But just to show you guys at home, in case you missed it, I do want to just take a look at sort of the overall groups, where everyone sits, where we think the upsets are going to come from. So here we'll take a look through it. This has all 8 of our groups now heading into Champs. And well, you know, we talked about TK just coming off that Stage 2 playoff victory. We're going to kick things off with Group A. Accuracy, I'm just curious from you, just when you first saw your group, overall thoughts?
I thought I don't know much about Heretics, but I know they're one of the sleeper teams in Europe.
They've been scrimming, from what I know, they've been scrimming red a lot and improving kind of drastically through those scrims.
Yeah, so I expect them to be good, and Lightning Pandas, you know, they didn't look too good in the LCQ, but getting through the LCQ is usually harder than when you get to the actual tournament. So I expect them to perform a lot better this weekend.
Well, I think it was you, Doug. You said, but Lightning Pandas, you don't know if they deserve to really be there after how they played at the LCQ.
I was watching that live, and I love those guys on Lightning Pandas, and I was just like, oh no, they're not going to make it. Like, it's actually not going to happen. I was watching the London Docks, the second hard point. I'm like, this is going to be it. They ended up getting a miracle. They ended up getting out, and they ended up getting here. So I love those guys on that team. I think they're all talented players, and I want to see them do well. But, I mean, they're very fortunate to be here right now.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, with that crazy comeback they had on Hardpoint over Gas Gaming, that was one of the more insane moments we really had at the LCQ. You see how hyped
and they were down 3-1 in the last search as well. Wow, man. I mean,
I'm telling you, that Kismet kid was frying them.
he certainly was.
Frying them.
I do want to talk a little bit about Epsilon as well. So, Pat, you probably have, at least off the top of my head, history with Epsilon back when they were on, the FOB team back in Black Ops 3. Weren't they ultimately who knocked you out?
Both in Black Ops 3 and at IW Champs.
Oh, I actually forgot about the IW Champs. So I went out on Trading Shots, and I said that we had to pick a dark horse. I said Epsilon was my dark horse. I think they have the ability to make a top 8 run just because I do believe in Champs players. Am I insane, or could you actually see them making a run despite their year?
In this game, you're insane.
Probably.
Yeah, they definitely were very good in the Jetpack Call of Duties. I think they had really good movement out of Europe, like some of the best, I think. But I just don't think they have it this year. Their respawn just doesn't look good enough, in my opinion.
Well, we'll see if they can pick it up. But, I mean, I think we'll all agree the favorite is TK, and just which of these other two teams, because just with the way Epsilon has been, I mean, is there a chance Heretics or Lightning Pandas could come out? I think absolutely. There's a good shot for either of those.
Well, I'm pretty sure Red Reserve's very last scrim was like a rage quit against Heretics where they had like 40 points and they just got off because they were like frying them that bad.
Yeah, they've been playing them a lot. You got to think just that ability for a team that's, I don't know, up and coming to play like an established team like Red that much has to help, right?
That's not what I want to hear.
It was Gibraltar, bro.
Oh, that's fine. I got Kenny on my team.
There you go. You'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll drop 45 and you'll be okay. But let's keep going through it. Let's hop to Group B next. So SlasheR, that's going to be kind of your guys' group. Rise Nation comes in there after the second place finish at the Stage 2 playoffs. Kind of same question I have for accuracy. When you first saw this, what were your thoughts?
I mean, to be honest, I feel like we should take this. Like, as long as we just play our game. Like, I feel like Tainted Minds, like, a lot of people sleep on them. They're actually not as bad as people make them out to be.
We learned in the final couple weeks they have the ability to.
Yeah, so like, I mean, they beat Optic, they 3-0'd Echo Fox and Envy, so I would not be surprised if they got second. But you can't count out like Lethal. You know they're gonna be good at Search, and then Brash. I don't know that much about them, but you never can count anyone out at champs.
Well, yeah, I guess that's the big thing. Like, if Lethal were in a group, let's say you were I don't know, maybe a Team Caliber before at least this most recent event where their worst mode was Search, or an Optic. Well, you guys struggled in Search a bit through the first, throughout Stage 2? A little bit.
Just like we missed a couple clutches.
Okay, let's give you a different example. If Optic were top of this group, we know how poor they've been in Search. Like, maybe that Lethal team's a little bit scary, but you've consistently been the best Search team all year.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm not too worried about it. As long as we show up and play our game, we should be fine. But you can never sleep on teams at champs. You can't get caught sleeping, because that's how you get second in your pool, and then you end up playing a good team round one and someone's getting smoked.
Do any of you think, I guess, is this a group where you think with what we saw in the final couple weeks from Tainted Minds, like they're kind of the lock for number 2? Or, I don't know, Doug, for you, can Lethal or Brash come out of this?
You know, you can't count anyone out at champs, but I do expect Tainted Minds to come out second just because...
The LCQ had so much trash, Doug. It's like my favorite thing from the whole thing.
I think that Tainted Minds has a lot of practice in the league, and I do think it's important to get good quality practice with your team, and there's no better practice than league practice. So Tainted Minds, we all know how much they've improved. These other two teams haven't had the opportunity to get the same practice as Tainted Minds. So I do expect Tainted Minds to get out, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of the other two do.
And I know there was, everyone started talking a little bit when, what was it? I think it was Teddy tweeted Scump about scrimming because
like we'll teach you S&D if you teach us respawn.
But that never came to fruition, right? They didn't actually scrim.
I think they played once. I want to say they played once.
I was curious if that went down because, I mean, it sort of made sense. I'm sure that would help Lethal a whole lot in Hardpoint. And Search, anything could help off.
For me, I think Brash is going to be number 2. I think that Dylan Kid is like Europe's next big player. From what I saw at the LCQ. Yeah, I thought he was the best player there, in respawn at least. But I think it'll be close either way.
Well, through the first two groups, yeah, I mean, I think you can talk about second place. It feels like just about anybody can come out of it. We'll see if Brash is able to do it, but we'll keep going through it, as we've got a ton of groups to get through. Let's head to Group C now if we can. So this will be Red Reserve, Mind Freak, Ghost Gaming, and Zone GG. I think that we can agree this is where it gets a little more interesting just because you have a team like Ghost in there. But we'll start from the top with Red Reserve. So TK, Rise, you guys got top 2. Red Reserve was still right there in that top 3 range. Accuracy for you, Red's got to be one of the favorites to win it all, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. They've been to grand finals twice now. They got another top 3.
This can't get through Rise, and otherwise they'd be fine.
So they're obviously a great team. I expect them to top the pool, but it's not going to come easy.
For you, SlasheR, what do you think's been the biggest thing that's I don't know, kind of giving you the edge over Red Reserve time and time again?
I think it has been our search and destroy. I feel like we're also really good at the respawns, but we seem to always take the searches against them, so it's almost like we're starting up 2-0 every series against them. They have to beat us in 3 respawns, which that's really hard to do.
Well, Red will be the favorites in this, and then we'll get to the next team up, and that's gonna be Mind Freak. So, Doug, we've said this forever. Mind Freak, some of these players have done it at champs before. They've made these top 6 runs. It's just been quite some time since they've been able to do it. Is there some magic for Mind Freak at this champs? Can they finally get it to click?
It's going to come down to Mind Freak and Ghost for that second spot. Let's just be honest. I think we all think Red Reserve is going to top this group. They should it all year. They deserve it, and they should. They have to go out and they have to take it. But I do think it's going to come down to Mind Freak and Ghost Gaming on that final day. I was just with Parasite in the lobby at the hotel, and he told me it's most likely going to come down to us playing Mind Freak on that Thursday in the final match of the pool to see who gets out to the bracket play stage. So Ghost is a really good team. I think they're one of the better, I guess you could say, AM teams that are out there. And Mind Freak, again, like they just knocked us out of playoffs. So Mind Freak, they're a wild card team. Ghost to me is a wild card team. It's just going to all depend on who shows up on that day. If I had to pick one, though, I would have to go with Ghost. That's just what my gut's telling me. I think it's going to be Ghost and Red that come out of that pool.
Well, Ghost has had some impressive wins, but they beat Optic at Seattle. They took Unilad to a Game 5 at Seattle.
I believe in Parasite.
They beat Team Caliber at Seattle too, right?
Yeah.
And then they pushed FaZe to a Game 5 at Anaheim. They beat Tainted Minds at Anaheim. So they have an impressive resume for an amateur team. Like typically, I don't know, for me at least, when you talk an LCQ team, you'd be lucky if there's a win or two against top actual pro league teams. And they've kind of continually done it. For you, Pat, like what's the single biggest thing you think stands up for Ghost? Like, why are they one of the favorites for us heading into this? We talk LCQ too.
I just think they have a really unpredictable playstyle. I mean, they have Lacefield, who I team with in Black Ops 3, and he has like just explosive ability to go off and win a map by himself. And I think GodRx has gotten a lot better throughout the year. I think if anything, this pool has a chance to be one of those like 3-way 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 0-3 like situations, because I don't think that zone team stands a chance against any of those other three. But I don't know if Ghost could sneak like a win against Red and then lose to Mindfreak, which is possible with how they play. I think it could be a weird outcome.
Who was the match that Zone was in to get out? Because remember they had the crazy play and Dura had like the 1v2 ace on Texas. Who did they beat to get in?
Was it Nox's team?
Yeah, it was Nox.
We know.
Nox got
How did I forget that? They got destroyed twice.
No ice.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe you get some kind of hype coming out of that moment, but I think I agree with you. It's got to be really the top 3 teams that we focus on the most. Let's keep going. Let's get right into Group D if we can. All right, so we're going to talk about E United really at the top of this Group D. They get 4th at Stage 2 playoffs, 2nd in Division B at 10-4. Accuracy for you is like, is E United finally a team that can win tournaments? Are they still just, a team fighting for kind of the top 6, top 4 type position?
So far from what I've seen this year, I don't like, they show the potential that they could do it, but it just seems that every time they get into those big matches where it's like they need to win this match to keep their chances alive or like to have a chance to win the tournament, they somehow always lose. So unless some champs magic happens for them, I don't know.
They just haven't been consistent enough.
Yeah,
that's basically how it is.
I said this on Trading Shots. I say a lot of stupid stuff on Trading Shots, but for like top teams, I feel like you can have an off map from someone. I feel like for United, they can't. Like everyone has to be good. Everyone has to be consistent. If one of their players has a really bad map, I just don't think they can beat other top teams.
I think it's more so based on Pristini. Like, when he has those like dominant maps, I feel like they're winning every single map they play where he's dropping like a 1.2 at a sub and always leading in engagements, which, the past events he has been playing insane. I think that's why you've seen so much improvement out of United. I think Alec's been pretty consistent all year, and then as long as Fellow doesn't get world starred, I think they're always going to be contending for it.
You can't live and die by one player, though. It can't just all...
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's how their team is right now.
If your gameplay set up to live or die by one player, you're bound to not be successful. He's not going to carry all the time.
Their thing is more so like their dynamic, I believe. I don't think that it's a one-player thing. I don't think it's a 2-player thing. I just think it's the way that they all work together. Because I've seen a lot of potential. A lot of people said Pristini. He said it himself that he was horrible in the beginning of the year. From what I've seen from Pristini, I feel like he's like their most clutch player. I feel like he wins them games by himself. He'll make like the one play to win the game for his team a lot of times. So I think it just comes down to the way that they all play as a team together.
Well, what was it that you said, SlasheR, about, I think it was about Black Ops 3, that when you had the controller issue and you had like the worst series of your entire life, but then, you and Apathy did, but then JCap and John stepped up.
Yeah.
I just don't know if there's that dynamic here sometimes.
That's how a team should work, though. Like, you should be able to win when someone's having an off series. If you're a good team, your best player could have a bad series, you should still be able to win. Like,
you got to rely on everybody.
Yeah, everyone's got to be able to step up in those situations. And that's what happened at Black Ops 3 Champs. Cap stepped up against Optic. I didn't play too well. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious to see what United does, but let's kind of keep going through it. So next up, Splice. They got 7th in Division A. They have obviously fallen off. They haven't looked good for quite some time. Really since the team change, I can't think of one series where I've thought, oh, Splice is back to that form. Censor, for you, like what chances do you give them to make a run at champs?
I can't even answer this question for you. I don't understood why they would drop Tommy. I felt like he was like the heart and soul of that team. I didn't understand the roster. I just didn't understand why they would get rid of Tommy. It didn't make sense to me. I don't understand why they would do it. I feel like Josh isn't the right fit for the team. Josh was great on Red. Josh, I think he got 2nd in Blaps 3 Champs, right?
Yeah.
So Josh is a great player. Jerd's been around forever. He's been a top player. Bance is one of the most clutch players. I've seen him drop 16 on Optic Game 5 at Birmingham and knock him out. So, and Mad Cat's been one of the best players in Europe as well. So they have the talent on the team. And again, I think it just goes down to dynamic. But you can throw all the stats out the window, Clint. I just think it's going to come down to who wants the event, who's the most prepared, and who's going to come out and execute. So anybody could really just come out and play well.
There's some champs players in this team, a lot of veterans. Bance has got, 2nd in a grand final. There's certainly a...
Can't count out King Jerd.
Yeah.
I think he's going to fry this weekend.
Dude, best shoulders in the game.
Yeah, his movement's crazy.
Well, let's talk about just kind of quickly touch on the other teams here. EZG, which I think are the team that, they're the team that beat Lightning Pandas first. I mean,
that's a sleeper AM team. That's a super
tell me
sleeper AM
why.
team. I don't know what it is about them. I feel like they're a sleeper AM team. People are overlooking them a little bit, but I think they're one of the best AM teams coming into the LCQ.
Didn't these guys beat United at an event? Robbie B? Didn't they beat him at Birmingham in pool play?
I don't remember, but all I know is that
I don't remember that far.
People are overlooking them, but
these
I
are
think
the rank play Reapers.
I'm kind of worried for Spice in this pool, actually. Like, I don't know what Spice we're gonna get. It depends on how their practice went. If they show up and play like they've been playing, this EZG team could be second. Like, we don't know.
They could.
Well,
also think about team. Add your point.
I was just gonna say, like, we've scrimmed Splice. They were all four in, I think, New York at their headquarters, and we've been scrimming them the last few days before we left. And for me, Splice is so hit or miss. They're either like a really good team or a really bad team. They don't have like that in between consistency. I just feel like they either like will dominate you a map or get dominated, and it's weird for me because I don't think any other team is like that right now.
Well, they have to play some of their, I guess, quote-unquote historical rivals in EU. If you look at Team Sweden, the final team here, you have Moose, Petey, Quicker, Weeman, players we've talked about, like pro leagues or top players in EU. They've been in the conversation at some point. So, yeah, I don't know that it's going to be easy for Splice, and it would be really tough. I mean, imagine if Sweden gets it over them. Like, that's just, I mean, that's embarrassing to a degree, right? If you
can't be in the pro league and then not make it out like that.
Did Sweden make it through the losers or the winners of the LCQ?
Losers, because they were the fourth team.
Oh, okay.
Fourth team.
Who'd they lose to?
They lost to Elevate. Was the first team they lost.
Oh, okay.
And then I can't remember who they won to get in. All right, well, that's going to do it at least for A through D. We've got 4 more groups to cover, guys. We're going to head to a quick break. We'll be right back. groups here for the CWL Championship in 2018. We finished up on D before the break. Let's hop into Group E now. So this one will be headlined by FaZe Clan, our Stage 1 playoff victors. Obviously not the same dream run at the Stage 2 playoffs, but Doug, we're going to start with you. This is a group you're in as well. Just like I asked the other guys, like, I don't know, just first thoughts getting in. What did you think when you saw the group?
I think we have the hardest group out of everybody at Champs. Enigma 6 is my former team. FaZe Clan is my former team as well. There's a lot of talent in this group. I think that it's just going to come down to who wants it the most.
Well, let's talk about FaZe to kick things off. Accuracy, I believe they're the only team that's stuck together through the entire year. Everyone changed come Roster Mania. Does that provide any kind of benefit heading into the big one?
Yeah and no, because if it hasn't like worked out all year, like it worked out at Stage 1 playoffs for them, but
That's
if it
it.
hasn't like fully worked out for them the whole year to be like, consistently good, then maybe there should have been a change. But you never know, like it's Champs time, some magic could happen and they could just put it all together right when it matters.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, SlasheR, do you think this FaZe team, they have it in them to make a run, right? I mean, the talent's there.
Oh, they definitely have it in and make a run. I'm just, again, it's like consistency with this team. Like,
Yeah.
they won, and then their other events are like 12th. It's like where they should be getting like, 5th, 6th,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
something.
exactly.
And there, it's just been so bad or so good. And even the event they won, like, that was a scary win. Like 1v3s, 1v4s, like they had no business really.
Everything went right.
Yeah, everything went right. So like, can everything go right again? I don't know.
Well, this is also going to be the very first event that they're going to play with this new role swap. They have replays running sub and Priest are running main AR,
another
which
skill.
I think is weird, but
They've made a couple changes that were weird. When I heard Attach was putting a sub away to be flex, so I know it has both. But still, when I first heard that, I was like, okay, and it kind of worked out, kind of didn't. Now another major change. But yeah, I guess if they haven't made a team change, they've probably made more role changes than anybody else. Maybe that,
well, I saw like a clip of Chris saying that this was made to help their hardpoint because of their poor hardpoint record at events. But for me, when I scrimmed them, I feel like their CTF got better and their hardpoint didn't feel the same. It was more, their hardpoint was all based on Zuma and how he played, kind of like how E United is. And I don't know, I just think their CTF got better because Chris can make more plays, but I don't know how it'll work for him.
Okay, well, let's shift off of FaZe now and talk a little bit about complexity. I'm interested to see how FaZe performs. But for complexity, obviously you guys, Doug, you come very close to making playoffs, come up a little bit short. What have you improved on maybe in the, I don't know, just these past couple weeks, kind of leading into Champs? What have you guys really worked on?
Going into, obviously, the last 2 weeks before Champs, I was in a lot of unfortunate business. I ended up catching the flu. I got into a car accident. I had to go to a wedding. So, like, the first week of practice, we couldn't really get really good practice. But
I'm sorry to
fortunately-
hear that you had that week from hell.
Yeah, I'm okay now. I'm like almost 100%. You hear my voice. I'm almost 100%. I'm going to be fine by tomorrow when we play FaZe Clan. Anyways, we actually had this LAN versus Optic Gaming, and we were playing them every single day for 4 days in a row up until yesterday when we got here, and I think it was the best thing that ever happened to us. I think we're prepared for anything. I think we had so many reps in Search and Destroy. I don't think we have a weak map or mode. I just feel really confident with our team going into Champs.
Because would you say your weakest mode was probably hardpoint, kind of at least?
I think our
Stage 2?
CTF and our S&D was really, really good, and then our hardpoint is either a hit or a miss.
So how much did it help? I mean, we know Optic, I think on the year, or since the team formed, I can't remember which it is, but it's like an 82% win rate in hardpoint. It's like one of the best win
They are
percentages
the
of
best
any
hardpoint team in Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stats, they are. Accuracy. I was waiting for you to start shaking your head.
What?
But stats-wise, though, they have won some crazy hardpoints. Granted, they might have less series because they haven't been into a grand final. I know, I get it. But that had to have helped you guys a lot because they are, if not the best, one of the better teams.
Well, all 4 of those guys shoot really straight. They're all really good at getting kills. So when you're playing against players like that every single day on LAN and just constantly playing like 2 full series or 3 full series a day, day in and day out, and everyone's taking it really hard and intense. Like, they wanted to learn Search and Destroy from us. We wanted to learn Hardpoint from them. And like, there was no money on the line. It was all about just getting better and just getting right for Champs. And I think we all understood that. So I really felt that the practice went well, and I'm really, really confident.
Okay, well, I'm excited to see how you guys perform as well, but we do have 2 other teams still in here, and like you mentioned, this might be, we'll kind of talk Group of Death once we're done, but this is up there for sure. Enigma 6 will be the next team, another one of those kind of favorites like Ghost that's coming out of the LCQ that has a lot of talent on it. Accuracy, I think you mentioned to me, for one player on this team, Abizi, you said he's like the next guy up. You think he's like maybe the next superstar?
Yeah, he definitely is the next superstar coming out of the AM community. I think next year he should see himself on a pro team. And it's actually funny, both AM teams in this group have the two players that I think are next up from the AM community, Abizi and Phantoms from Mortuary.
Well, we'll talk about Mortuary in a little bit here, but we'll stick with E6 for a moment. I kind of mentioned the impressive wins for Ghost. Enigma 6, they've done some too. You know, they beat E United at Seattle. They beat Complexity at Seattle. I believe they beat TK at Anaheim. So they have some wins.
Yeah.
You keep popping up on these lists that have lost to some of these amateur teams for some reason, but Enigma 6 is, we know the potential's there. I mean, Censor and Diabolic have been in kind of a duo for a long time. Like, you've teamed with them back in what, Ghost?
The I team with them.
No, didn't you?
I teamed with Troy.
That's right, Cinder. That's right. Cinder towards the end of Ghost. You guys won Stage 3 playoffs or got second?
No, we got second. We got second.
God, my memory. I'm surprised it went back then. But, again, it's one of those teams that has a lot of players that have been in pro leagues. Like I felt like I noticed this more than any LCQ before. Like I looked at almost every team. I'm like, oh, I've casted them before. I've seen them before. It was kind of shocking. But I do want to talk final team then. Let's talk Mortuary. Right back to you. You mentioned Phantoms. We saw them on Conquest GG. Remember they played Optic at Anaheim. What was it, in group play? And it was insane. It was impressive to see what him, Kismet, some of the guys were able to do.
I think he has a lot of talent. I think he has a bright future ahead of him if he just makes the right decisions, makes the right roster decisions.
That's the tough part, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. But I think the kid's really good, and he has a bright future.
So we'll see what they're able to do. But then outside of Phantoms,
they went 5-5 to qualify for the LCQ. This is how
that was their first series. I believe that first one. I believe this is the first series. But talking about, I mean, you have Phantoms, but then Pat, you have what? It's kind of the rest of that roster from the GGA or Legion squads, whatever you want to call it.
I think that's the big story of this pool is like this team, GGA Orange, has been on like the brink of qualifying for every stage, super close. Every event, like they would come into pool play and then lose like heartbreaking matches.
What feels like forever though.
Yeah, no, all year long they've been there. They've been a part of, I guess, that cusp of like getting there. I don't know. I think they need to clutch up. I think the roster change, like Lamar said, picking up Phantoms was probably good for them. I know they had some role issues, but this pool is the pool of death for me, and I don't know how it's going to play out.
Well, have fun, Doug.
Thanks.
I mean, that's also been the story of like Troy and Steven's teams too. Like Center Diabolic, they've always like been right there. They've gone up 2-0 against.
Did E6 make it to stage 2 relegation?
I'm not sure. I mean, they have been in the pro league before.
They had to have been in
hasn't.
Well, no.
I think they lost in the online qualifier.
Oh, okay. Because I played GGA Orange there, and we went Game 5 and won. But
But like they go like Game 5 a lot with like top teams. So like I would not be surprised.
Yeah, this
There's
pool's
a lot
scary,
of Game 5s in this pool. Like that's the worst pool to be in by far. But I mean, Doug's winning champs, so we're all playing for second.
What a good start.
come through the pool of death to win it all.
Yeah. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be, what did you say earlier? Like, if I'm playing Doug in the final?
If I look over and Doug's in the finals against me, I'm going to be most nervous. I'm not going to worry. Like, Dashy's on the map, I don't care. I'm like, where the hell is Doug at? I'm watching out for Doug.
Oh, God. There's part of me that, like, hopes it happens. Just for the story of it.
I would be shook. You'd look over at me, I'd be like, bite my nail.
As SlasheR, not the best performance out of him. Just like this.
All right, well, let's keep going through it. We'll go to Group F next. This one will be headlined by Unilad. Unilad, a team. I don't even know where to put them. Like I didn't know what to expect when they first came out. I don't think anyone did. They showed that they're one of the top teams in the world. They've looked like maybe the top team in EU at times. I know Red still holds that title, but they've been very, very impressive. SlasheR, let's start with you this time. Unilad, do they have what it takes to make a deep run?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I would not be surprised if they somehow, found themselves Champ Sunday, like top 3, something like that. I mean, if they play well this weekend, they could even win. That'd be a little surprising, but it would not surprise me at all to see them late.
Possible, yeah.
It's definitely possible.
I do want to talk about a team that I've had a big question mark over in accuracy. I want to start with you. You've obviously teamed with some of the MV players in the past. Chino comes from that original TK roster to start the year. What's the deal with Envy? Like, where do you kind of put them on the map right now?
I think Envy they have the talent. Kyler's one of the most talented players in Call of Duty. Cheen could be a good leader for them. I think that they just need to put it together and just play the game the right way. Like, if they put that talent to the correct use, they could be a nasty team. But I think the way they play sometimes is a little inconsistent. So if they fix that coming into this event, they could definitely make a run.
Because there have been times when we've had, like, I don't want to say they're the best SMG duo we've had, but there were series where, like, Who Can Decimate looked nuts. Like, they looked very, very frustrating to play against.
I feel like Desi has been a little underrated. Like, I think he's, when all the S&D players came over to Variant, I think after Pharaoh, he's definitely the best one.
I think he could be. I mean, it's weird to want to say he's like the most improved player in the year, but I think he's gotten better and better. It's weird because it's also like his breakout year as well.
Yeah.
I think Envy's kind of like the opposite of Unilad in the sense that they don't have a very deep map pool. They're like, the maps they're good at, they're really good at. And then like there's some maps where they're just like very average at. I think that's their biggest issue is they really need to hope the veto process goes well for them, or it gets scary.
It's like they're the opposite too when you talk about. I think they rely on talent quite a bit versus teamwork, where Unilad relies on the teamwork. So it'll be interesting. You know, you guys have mentioned sometimes players, man, you get them to the biggest event of the year, you see a form you haven't seen all year. So it'll be exciting to see if Envy can do that. Now let's get to our team. There was actually a team change, I believe, in the last couple of weeks after the LCQ. Not team change, but team name change. They go from Les Bleus to Prismatic now, just under a different organization. A lot of guys, if you followed kind of the French scene, European scene, like we've all seen Tony J, Whaler, Xerox, Malls. Like these guys have been around for a long time. Pat, I mean, you're probably our longest standing player. Surely you've had some history with some of these guys in the past?
Yeah. Xerox and Whalers have been. I think they're the two longest that's been around. The longest. I'm not sure, but
No, I believe you're right.
yeah. But I think they were the story of the Vitality team, the most consistent on that team.
They've been on Vitality, Supremacy. I feel like they've hopped like every major kind of French org at some.
Yeah, I mean they're just the best out of French in my opinion, or France, I guess. but no, yeah, they're good. They're good at search. I think that's their biggest strong suit going into this tournament is they can always take an S&D away from pretty much anyone. I just don't know how they fare in respawn. It's the same thing with how like Giants was. They're just super inconsistent in respawn, but their S&D is good, so hopefully it leads them through the pools.
Well, we'll see what they're capable of, but the fourth place team is really interesting to me as well because that is, you know, we've talked about Phantoms and kind of that Conquest GG team. Some of the leftovers there are on this mentality team as well. So you have Demise, Hate, Tish, and Gravity. I believe Tish and Gravity were two from that team as well, the Conquest GG. So a lot of young talent there as well, but they obviously lose Phantoms. They remake this squad. They actually play him in this first series like we talked about. It goes all the way to a Game 5. But I feel like, I don't know, Nova, Spoof, Mayhems. Oh, that's the Morituri side. So the mentality side, Demise, Hate, Tish, Gravity. Is this another team that has potential to upset, you guys think?
I mean,
Not
honestly,
in this pool.
Not in this pool?
Yeah. I think
Just
they
because of strength,
do,
what,
but-
Unilad and Envy?
Yeah.
I think that like even if Envy's not playing the game the right way, they could just out-talent
Out-talent them, yeah.
and just Kylie could just have a field day, or Hugh could just have a field day, run around, do whatever he wants, and just destroy. But
Yeah, because I think when it was Kismet and Phantoms with those two, like, I don't know, you saw kind of the playmaking ability, but if there were two that I picked as their playmakers, those are the two that are gone now.
yeah,
Well, we also said that about Unilad when Scraps left Unilad to go to Red, and we're like, oh,
True.
Unilad's not going to be good at all, and they actually got better than before.
Well, they also dropped Moose and picked up 2 people, right?
That's when they got Alex.
They got Alex and Zed.
And they got 2 players,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that changes it.
I just think this pool is clear cut Unilad, and then should be Envy. Like
Kind of the point I wanted to get to, I guess.
It should
You
be
think it's
clear cut.
Pretty clear cut. All right, well, if we think it's clear cut for F, let's check out G then up next. So this one, this is going to be one of the more interesting pools for me without question. Just because with a team like Echo Fox, I don't know what you're going to get half the time. The same could be said for LG. But let's start with Echo Fox. I believe I saw JP tweet out a stat that they're right around a 70% win rate in CTF. They've been one of the better teams all year in that. But when you talk about modes like Hardpoint and Search, not exactly sure what you're going to get. But SlasheR, you do have some players here that have made very deep runs at Champs without question. When you talk about Aqua, Facento, like these are players that have made their home at Champs. Surely that's got to give them a little bit of an edge going into this.
Oh yeah, I mean Echo Fox is a team like they're not good at hardpoint, but it would not surprise like if they sneak a hardpoint, you lost. Like basically, like you cannot afford to lose hardpoint against them. And I mean, Facento and Aqua, like they've always been that team who's like been a 2-3-5 team like every year, and they make it work at Champs every year. Like they've never been good at hardpoint, I don't think, in a single game ever. But they somehow get top 3 at Champs.
the only time they would win hard points like was when Aqua would just mega hard carry or respawn, and that's all you need. You need one person on their team to have a superstar performance in a hard point, and then they can easily win the series.
So what was it? Second? It was second AW. Was it third?
Third Black Ops 3.
And then what?
Fourth.
Yeah.
So and they've never been good at hardpoint. Like hardpoint was almost a loss every time. So
Well, I remember last year, I was one of the only people that picked Rise Nation top 4 literally because of that. I was like, these guys I watch them do it every year. Every year somehow it happens. So
that's what's interesting
shocked
about
they
this
did it
pool
again.
too, is because LG apparently their worst game mode is hardpoint, or like they struggle in that mode. So if Echo Fox steals a hardpoint, they get scary for LG.
well, let's talk LG next. Doug, let's start with you. What do you think has been the reason for LG being so hit or miss as of late?
I think it's just their teamwork. I just don't think they're a team. I don't think that they really like each other. I don't think that they want to play with each
Oof,
other.
that makes it hard. That makes it hard. Then.
And when that's the
making the
case,
TL hot.
I don't know. I've heard similar murmurings about kind of just some personality clashing. I've heard the same. So
I mean, you look at
makes it
this
tough.
team. 3 of these guys already won an event on this game, and you have an MVP at Champs in Formal, right? So the talent's all there. Like, you look at the names, and these guys are players who've been placing top 3 their entire life. I just don't know. I mean, we would play them a lot online, and we would always beat them in the scrims, and I'm like, LG's not going to do that well. They go into Anaheim to get 3rd. So who knows? I mean, they have a lot of talent. They got 2 Champs MVPs with John and Formal. You got Cap, who has 2 rings, and you have Josiah, who's been a consistent player. He's been honestly their best player ever since this team has been a team. So Luminosity, you can't count them out. I know that they have champions on their team, and they have players that are going to show up at Champs. So I think they're going to do okay.
Question for you, Pat. You kind of mentioned the fact that maybe some clashing going on, teammates bumping heads. Like, have you ever been at a point like that with a team, and then once you get the champs, so does that disappear? Like, is the event so big that sort of goes away?
Phase red.
I mean, yeah, in a way. In a way, it definitely does. But I feel like more so LG, they rely too much on their skill, and I don't feel like they have enough compared to some of these other top teams where they are going into series trying to out-talent people, and I think they need to take a step back and really focus on teamwork and playing the game
Fix
correctly.
the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Well, that was interesting. We had the coaching argument kind of on a recent Trading Shots, and Joe, I said I don't think coach is that big of a deal, and he basically said I think they are for a team like LG because they need to get back to the fundamentals.
They hired Nagafin, I think.
I actually didn't know that. Okay, interesting. Well, I had no idea how that'll go, but maybe he'll be able to help if they listen to him, which I think might be the problem. If LG will actually listen.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's been helping them. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of crazy to think about Nagafin's coaching JCap's team.
Yeah, that is strange.
kind of
Honestly, I almost started
players.
giggling when you said it for a second.
Yeah, I know. But apparently, it
Cap is one
has
of
been
those
helping.
coach players. That's why Cap should be doing it himself. He is the coach player.
Yeah.
He should be doing it for the team.
You would think.
Yeah.
Something's not been working. So, I don't know, but we talked about it in the green room before this, and I was like, they could literally bomb out of groups, and I wouldn't be that shocked. They could get top 3, I wouldn't be that shocked. I have no idea. No clue what LG is going to do. But let's talk about the next team up within this particular group. That's going to be Tommy's team. Tommy, I think one of the most loved and celebrated players kind of in the history of European Call of Duty. He's an incredible guy, and, he comes into this LCQ with not the squad I would expect. I thought it would be more like Team Sween players on his squad, like a Moose, Petey, Quicker type thing. He comes in with a lot of youngsters. And I actually, if we can show this, I thought this was really funny. Somebody joked about this, and this is what Tommy tweeted to Rich. Funny story. I actually found Maple in my local supermarket. He came up as a fan, asked for a signature, and then said we should play sometime. Nice guy I am. I said, sure, now look at us. That's literally...
That's actually mind-blowing. That's actually
What's
crazy.
up? Are you Tommy? We're teaming for champs.
That's crazy.
I've never seen anything like that. Heard anything like that.
That's crazy.
Me either.
I have a lot of
pretty
faith in
good.
Tommy, though. I think Tommy was Splice's best player when he got dropped. So coming into this team, I think they can make a run.
Well, we joked. I think where this stemmed from. We joked that Tommy he's been around so long that he could find any young talent and just make a run. And then he tweeted that. I was like, okay, so really.
He literally found someone off the street.
Literally off the street.
The scariest thing about this pool, I think, is that the 2 AM teams, like Vitality and Havoc, are really good at search. And then Echo Fox and LG are really bad at
Echo Fox
hardpoint.
is. Oh yeah.
So it's like, if those kids
I thought he was going to go search too.
Yeah,
No, I'm saying,
LG's not good at search though. That's a thing. That's scary.
well, they're also bad at hardpoint.
I know. Their hard points but they're
Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah. But I don't know.
They have one game mode.
they're really good at CTF though. Apparently.
I feel like there's upset potential in this pool for sure.
That's scary.
And if
I
I'm
know.
Tommy, think about it. If I'm Tommy and I got dropped by Splice and Splice is struggling, imagine he comes out of groups and Splice doesn't. I would just be like,
Wait, but that also means that Echo Fox or LG doesn't come out, and then it's like, what the heck is going on?
I don't know how shocked I'd be. But the final team, Havoc Esports, that's going to be BZ, Fastball, Imruiz, and Remy. Remy, a guy that has made runs at champs, but I feel like he's sort of disappeared since then, really. What's the last time we really talked about Remy much since that champs run? Because that was what? That was
He
with...
got top 4 in IW the first event, and then I think that's it.
Did he?
Did he really?
He was on that.
Oh, Allegiance, yeah.
Oh,
Coachella.
yeah.
That's the last time.
Yeah. And other than that, it's been AW. Black Ops 3, I don't think he did too much.
He was on the Elevate team in the beginning. They got top 4, and then they dropped him.
Oh, yeah.
And then, Fastball's been on obviously a lot of top amateur teams. Ruiz was on Enigma 6 through quite a while. And then I think he sort of retired, came back. He's been all over the map. But some recognizable names. I just think, you talked about the fact that this group you think is kind of open due to performances from Echo, Fox, and LG. Do you give Havoc, I don't know, more or less of a chance than Vitality? Doug, any opinion on that?
I would give Havoc a little bit more of a chance, but that's only because I don't know any of the players on Vitality. I've seen these players on Havoc before.
Outside of Tommy, I'm right with you.
But
the one guy's at your local supermarket.
One guy's at the local supermarket. To me, that doesn't sound that promising to me, but Tommy obviously found a way to make it work if he got through the LCQ.
Very easily too. They dominated.
Did they really?
Sure.
Yeah, dude, their S&Ds are all 6-1.
Yeah, they
wasn't
smoked
close.
everyone they played.
Well, if they keep winning search and destroys like that, they'll definitely make it out of this group for sure. You'll be able to sneak a respawn in for sure.
I thought about this too. It's interesting. So the teams that are at the top are not that good in hardpoint, and they're playing its fastball in hardpoint. Everyone knows how fastball play. 50 deaths a game. He's just running at the hill over and over, smoking it out. The only thing he does is runs towards the hill. He doesn't nothing, just hill.
So I can be very frustrated.
That's gonna be weird to play against, especially if you're not that good at hardpoint. So
interesting.
Something to think about.
All right, well let's get into our final group, guys. Group H. Pat, we're finally to your group. That is going to be Optic, EG, Elevate, and Supremacy. Optic, obviously coming off. I don't want to say their worst performance of the year because I know they've had some tough finishes, but
I think individually it probably was.
Well, what, Scump ended with a .77, was it?
Yeah, Krim had a .8. Octane had below 1.0.
We're talking worst KDs they've ever had in their career, which is kind of interesting. What do you think, Pat, was the biggest problem with Optic at playoffs in particular?
Just that their star talent didn't show up. I think that's something that you can't have out of a top, 4 team.
Yeah, especially at playoffs.
Yeah.
Maybe you get away with it somewhere else.
Me right there.
Yeah, I know.
Over a league match, can't believe it.
But they have, we've talked about the fact they've had one of the best hard points. Doug, you mentioned that you scrimmed against them kind of leading up to this in a bit of a boot camp. I know you felt like you improved a lot in hard point. I don't know, do you feel that they were improving in search by scrimming you, I guess?
Absolutely. I think
you guys were throwing out random strats, things.
We were talking a lot of crap to each other, especially me and Krim. We're screaming, actually, really screaming at each other, taking it seriously. Every time, I have so much search talent on this team. Blast could 1v3 at any time. Dashy would win every 1v1 gunfight. There's so many times where Blast and Dashy would just do a 2v4 that they shouldn't do, but they would play it perfect. And Krim would be like, "Oh, what the?" You know what he would say. Freaking out. Methods, what are you doing? Why don't you push the street, Methods? You know that the 2 guys are there, so push here. And he'd start screaming at them. But when you get that many reps in search and destroy, and both teams are actually trying hard in it, you're going to get better. We played each search and destroy map at least 5 or 6 times.
Well, just to get an idea, Doug, if you had to guess who won more maps, would it be you guys or Optic?
I think it was dead even. If you count the searches, yeah. Dead even.
Oh, so you're saying you won most of the searches?
We definitely won most of the searches. They definitely won most of the hard points.
That's how I would expect that scrim to go.
Noted.
Quick question kind of about Optic, I guess, to you two. You were, I would say, the 2 favorites coming in. Red right there as well. Despite Optic's results, do you think they still kind of belong in that favorite conversation just because how much talent's on the team, or no? It's been too long. They've been too average.
They're a good team. Obviously, they have great players, but it's just not justifiable to say they're a favorite to come in and win the tournament. Based on the facts, you can't say that. It would just be a bias.
I guess there's just this weird part of me that's there's so much talent. I'm they can.
No, yeah, they're definitely a good team. I'm not saying they're a bad team, but it would be way too biased to just say, they're a favorite to come win the tournament.
It's been a full year of mediocrity, basically.
Yeah, it's just with that team is, can they play at their top level and respawns every series? They're gonna have a series where they're.
Can they win 82% against good teams?
Yeah, because their search and destroy. I don't care how much they scrimmed it over the past few weeks. Search and destroy is so situational that you need to just have a good mind for the game mode, and that takes a lot of time, not just a couple weeks. So they could have got a little bit better, but it's not going to be to the point where they're beating TK or my team in 2 searches.
Can they get to the 50-50?
Yeah, I know. They might do it once, but can they do it consistently? I don't know.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's talk EG now, Pat. I'll be honest, the last I really watched the team, follow the team much, was when you guys fell off at the end of Stage 2 regular season. You came up a little short in playoffs. Can you sort of, catch me and people up to date? What's it been like since sort of that fall from grace, at least at the end of Stage 2?
I think if most people know, our fall from grace was really pretty much S&D related. Our respawn still looked fine. We still played every team close, won or lost.
How many did you end up losing in a row? Because it was something insane.
0-14, and then ended we won 1 or 2. So, it wasn't that bad. But, nah, I just think situationals, like our team went from being very good at our situational plays and how we wanted to play our lives in clutch situations or man advantage situations to just started to throw them away and just play super careless. So anything at champs, that's what we're trying to eliminate, is just that careless mentality of, hey, look, we have a free round, like we should. In S&D, in my opinion, on championship teams, they always close out the rounds you're supposed to win, and I think that was our biggest thing, is that we started losing those rounds. But for the most part, I mean, we had a boot camp at the Xfinity training facility in Illinois. We were there for about a week or so. I think the biggest mindset for all of us was just to get on the same page in S&D. You know, I think Hardpoint's our best game mode. CTF, I'm not 50-50, but I mean, we could win any CTF or lose any CTF. But for us, mainly, it was just practicing our search and making sure we're on the same page.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see what you guys can do. And yeah, I assumed you had to have improved for them, but I was curious to kind of hear how it's gone.
I mean, again, that was just, we couldn't get worse.
Yeah. Well, I guess
I just don't know how much
true.
value I put into practicing search for the tournament.
But it wasn't like we were practicing strats or doing this or this. It was mainly just like situational plays, like going over, hey, like guys, like
really
let's
hard
make
to
sure.
practice.
It's just like a
That is
completely
really
different
hard to
world. When you
practice.
get into the tournament and you're playing Search and Destroy, it's nothing compared to a scrim or anything like that.
I guess it's different for us because it wasn't so much like going from nothing to something. We had it and we kind of just started losing it and playing careless, and we just had to kind of get in the motions of reminding ourselves, like, yo, like, you don't got to do anything crazy.
Go back to what you were.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, now, okay, knowing how vulnerable, I guess, Optic and EG have looked at times, specifically in Search and Destroy, what do we have left in here? We have Elevate and Supremacy. So Elevate, full roster, be Major Maniac, superstar, kind of a Search and Destroy type guy. You have, Mox, Spacely, and Proto. I guess, SlasheR, for you, is there some upset potential just due to the struggles of Search and Destroy for the two top teams?
I know Major Maniac's really good at search. I mean, Spacely's been a part of like good search teams in the past. I just don't know how, as a team, they are. So if they're if they're really good in S&D, I would say there's some upset potential. I'm just scared for this team in the respawns against EG and Optic. I think it's gonna be really hard. They're gonna need to steal one and win in the game 5.
Well, I'm trying to think of any really impressive wins they had. They beat Team Sween at the LCQ. Otherwise, just at Anaheim, they lost to EG, beat them, Mind Freak, Echo Fox, Unilad, so nothing really impressive out of this particular squad. So I don't know how much stock I put there, because hard points are going to be a giant uphill battle, I think, against the team.
I do think, though, that I've watched a little bit of their gameplay. I think that Major Maniac kid is actually pretty good.
Yes,
I don't think anyone talks about him.
Yeah.
He seems like he's really talented, seems like he's smart in S&D. I think it could be one of the next,
he was also one of the S&D kids that really branched away from the S&D community. Like, he's not playing with any of them. That's what you don't. He went to try and get on, like, an actual good AM team.
I think he has some serious potential.
From talking to Spacely, he really believes that Major Maniac could be like a next up player.
Well, maybe this is his breakout.
Yeah.
He's their AR.
Yeah, he's their main AR.
Space is a kind of guy too who finds those kind of like players that not a lot of people talk about, and like they end up being really good. So it's almost like Tommy. Yeah. You found him at the supermarket. So.
Well, let's talk quickly. I'll be honest, I don't know as much about these 4 players. I saw a little bit the LCQ, but the Supremacy team with Labrizi, Easy, Natshay, and Atlas. We don't have to spend much time unless, is there anything of note you can think of with these players?
I don't even know if it's correct, but I'm pretty sure that team is the Monaco team, or was the Monaco team, or at least has players on it.
I think you're right. I don't know if it's a complete one, but
I think it's close, and they made it into pools at one open event.
Well, they did it. They made the Roman Heretics did too.
Was it Birmingham or Seattle?
I think it was Seattle.
I don't know. I know they're not like a strict AM team. They've definitely made it.
If you're a team that can get out of the open bracket, you can maybe make
pretty good. Yeah.
Maybe make some noise.
So that's all I know about them. I mean, I think for sure there's at least 2 of them on that Monaco team.
Okay. All right. Well, quickly, just because I know we have a lot to get through this show, I know we spend a lot of time on groups. We won't talk too much on it, but does everyone kind of agree that Doug's got the pool of death? Is that the group of death?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that might be the answer.
I think what is it? C and E. E's probably the hardest. C's probably second.
Yeah.
C is definitely like the 3-way situation, but Group B is scary for all 4 teams.
I know, yeah.
All right, well, now that we've kind of talked about the actual groups, I do want to at least bring up the alpha schedule to kick things off. This is going to be directly after Hot Mic. So you're up first, Accuracy. You'll be playing Lightning Pandas, Red Reserve Ghost to follow that, FaZe Complexity, Echo Fox LG, Rise Tainted Minds, and then Red Reserve Mind Freak to close it out. I guess quickly, what jumps up the page?
McGee's coming for revenge.
Yep. The rivalry there. You got.
He's going to be screaming.
I think that second match will really tell the story of Group C.
You got the champs MVP Doug Censor Martin, or soon to be champs MVP Doug.
Wait, I didn't realize this is Doug versus FaZe.
I know exactly.
These are, well, it is champs time. These are all going to be interesting.
Yeah, these are going to be some
I'm
really
really
good
Wait, Eloquent Fox LG after two. All these matches.
Again, this is just
The red has the hardest.
just to let you guys know, I mean, this is going to be similar to the LCQ in the sense that we have our alpha broadcast where we're going to be hopping in and out of matches. There'll be gameplay streams for everything. So we're going to be jumping around, but this will kind of let you know the main focus, at least for our main commentary. And then I think we can actually look at Thursday as well. So these 2 days will cover groups. As you get into even more wild matches here, I'm trying to see if there's anything. They honestly, they all kind of stand out.
First match, the last match.
Yeah.
I think FaZe versus E6 is going to be good.
It's going to be depending on what happens on Wednesday, though.
Yeah,
Like, how did
true.
E6 and FaZe do on Wednesday?
Yeah.
And then basically, we'll have more information on bracket play once group play is done. We'll kind of show you how everything breaks down. But just in case, real high level, you didn't know how it worked, Wednesday, Thursday at the arena, we're going to go through 32 teams, narrow it down to 16. It's not like, let's say, the LCQ where it's like win 2 and you get in. It's going to be back to our normal round robin pool play. Everybody plays each other once. Top 2 teams in the group move on to bracket play then. And then that's what the weekend will be. 16 teams Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Nationwide Arena fighting out for the $1.5 million. So it's going to be nuts. But we've looked at Wednesday and Thursday. Now I just kind of want to talk not yearly rewards. Just, we actually going to do that at the end of Trading Shots, our final episode after champs. We're going to pick an MVP, pick breakout player. We're going to do all that. But I do want to kind of look at some top 5 stats, just leaderboards throughout the year. The first one, overall KD. SlasheR, you're at the top, buddy. 1.21. I guess my question to you guys, is there anything there that surprises or kind of what you would expect?
I'm not
All
surprised.
AR players?
I'm not surprised. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, it surprised me to see all AR players, but Lamar's not on that list. So.
And I got the most championships out of all of them.
It actually does surprise me that Assault's over Lamar. I want to see what Lamar's overall KD is.
Probably
They're probably.
It's probably, I bet it's like right behind.
All you got to know
Well, what
is
did
the
you
overall
have it-
championships.
What did you have at playoffs? Your KD was?
1 point something, I don't know.
It was like 1.1.
Okay, well,
Listen, at the end
the
of the day,
championships do speak a little bit louder. So.
chips are the only thing that matters, really, at the end of the day.
Oh, and these don't. I'm not even trying to put too much stock in these. I just think it's interesting to look back over the whole year and just kind of see.
I don't know. That one seems like it matters a lot to me.
You have 2 chips, too.
Tells the story of the full year to me.
Let's look at top 5 search and destroy KD now, if we can. So this is throughout the course of the year. Dashy of Complexity is there at number 1. He was also on our top 5 KDs. SlasheR, you only fall 1 spot, but now Mr. Ice in his veins, you're on the board. There you are at third.
Thank God.
But was that all AR players again? No, I guess Scraps is.
Well, Scraps was an
That's what's
AR.
flex.
He's a flex.
Okay, well, he was a flex on Unilad.
That doesn't matter as much for search, though. It doesn't matter.
He also snipes like every SMG.
Yeah.
I know all games have been AR heavy for KD, but is this the heaviest it's ever been?
No, it's always been like that. Every R player, you're going to have a higher KD.
Like, I know that's
Really?
something.
Because I remember Ghost running a sub and having like a 1.4.
Okay, it's because everyone ran it.
Except for like what, Octane? You saw Remington. That's
Yeah.
about it,
Hey,
right?
Damon
Or in
ran an
Surge.
AR.
It's true. It's true.
Wait, you ran a Remington on Freight, too.
Top red.
I did.
Oh yeah,
You said
that was
top
Pat.
red.
That's when we got a 2-cat, though.
I did the same thing.
It's not hard
I
to
went
get.
Yeah,
top
it's
red
so
every
easy to
life-
dominate a
every
2-cap with it, bro.
You got Crim and Teep on your team.
I had Miyagi hop and beat him. I was like, yeah, I got you, bro.
All right, well, let's get into. We've got at least one more here. Top 5 respawn slayers. This kills per 10 minutes. Dashy once again they're at the top. Now this is actually, I think, one of the crazier stats, at least, because this is where you expect more of the subs to start to filter in when you're talking about kind of respawn
Yeah.
slayers. They play a lot faster. So it's subs and then kind of you and Dashy up there.
It's crazy. Every one of these, I'm on the list. I don't know.
You were the only player. Oh no, Dashy was in every one too, right?
No, he
I
was
don't
on
think
the
he was
first
one.
No, he
Was
was.
he?
He was number 3.
Oh, he's number 3?
He was
Oh, okay.
0.01 KD behind you and Method.
I just read number 1. And
The rest started to blur out. But, I mean, there's only so much stock you can put in this, obviously. I mean, you two play pretty different AR roles. We talked about that, I think, on a hot mic. Like,
Yeah.
you're not quite as aggressive, so it's not going to pop up with stats like that. But, I don't know, it's kind of fun to kind of go through. And then we have a couple other just kind of fun stats. Over the course of the year, Gunless leads the way with total LAN kills. So just most kills over the course of every LAN he's played at. He has 6,639. John has the most team kills with 99. Priest has the most bomb plants with 204. I'm not surprised after seeing London Docks. And I thought that was interesting.
No, that last one
Score
doesn't
streaks-
surprise me.
M6.
yo, he hard plays.
Yeah, so like
bro.
even yeah,
I didn't even like keep track of that stat.
They have like
They have
this
in-game
in-game
stuff,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, but no, but the last
There's a
one
lot of
definitely
back-end stuff.
doesn't surprise me because even when Team Winkrim, like anytime he was close to streaks, he got them. Like he didn't choke his streaks. That was something he was weirdly good at.
Well, isn't that something you guys really tried to work on? I feel like I remember you four kind of yelling at each other after one day of games, like that you really need to nail that because you thought you guys were dying so close to streaks over and over again.
And we weren't like baiting for each other as good as we definitely could have.
Interesting. All right, well, let's. I do have a couple more champs discussion topics I want to get on. Just some generic topics to kind of go through. So this is obviously the reason you guys are all here is because you have some sort of history with champs, or you've won champs in the case of a couple of you. I guess for the guys that have won champs, we'll start with SlasheR. What was that moment like for you? Just the moment where you won it.
That was a crazy moment. But I always talk about it like going into that day, I kind of like had this feeling that I was going to win. So I kind of like prepared myself before actually finishing off the tournament. It was like I've never had that feeling before ever in my life. I just knew I was going to win somehow. So I don't know. It's probably the best tournament win for sure. Probably the best tournament win I might ever have. Like even if I win it again, like it's
the first
champs. Yeah.
What about you, Pat?
Mine's similar to Austin's, I guess, but he said his was like the day before. Mine was like months before.
Yeah.
You know, just dominating the competition for months on months, and then finally getting to the point where we could finally win. It was nice, but yeah, mine. I don't think mine was as special as a lot of people's because we had like a weird 24 and like 4 stat line, a map count. Like it wasn't very close if you saw like 3-0 in the grand final.
You guys dominated.
Yeah, it wasn't as memorable as like clutching up, like playing good teams close, winning those big matches. For me and personally, is our 2015 AW event was probably my most memorable. So I don't know. It's a great feeling. You can't go wrong with 100 grand and winning a world title.
You guys were expecting.
What do you guys get that year? Third, right?
Third in AW?
Yeah.
If we played it on Saturday, we would have won.
We 15-0 map count, bro. That
15-0.
It's on Saturday. We didn't lose a single map.
Yeah, didn't lose a single map.
I didn't even remember that was a thing. That's actually
Played 5 series and won every one 3-0.
I think Enable still had the
impressive.
best day of
his life
ever.
He was dropping like 10 in S&D.
Now Enable's my hard carry. You guys better watch out.
What he was doing in AW, I haven't seen him
on Saturday was insane.
Like he's still been good, but that was absurd.
Doug, what is the winning moment going to be like for you this year?
I just imagine having the trophy and cut off sleeveless jersey, veins popping out of the arms. It would be a really cool story if it was to happen. I think we all put in a lot of time, and I think that the team that wants it the most is going to be the team that wins.
You said you've got top 4, and then it was top 12 best chance.
Yeah.
So this is, this is your moment, right? This is where you are going in as one of the favorites. Like this is your chance.
This is the time to etch your name into Call of Duty history. You become a legend this weekend.
Don't get nervous.
Listen, bro. Just
cold-blooded. I'm cold-blooded.
Just promise me, if you do win, bro, don't do this.
I'll be on stage like.
All right, a couple more questions. I guess we can ask briefly each of you, like, what's your biggest maybe champs regret? Accuracy for you. Is there something that just a big regret around champs?
Around champs?
Yeah, well, like at champs, or maybe a team decision leading up to champs, something that you just regret.
Definitely a couple of those, but wait, actually, Pat dropped me before Black Ops 3 champs. That one sucked. Because I could have joined a different team instead of their team, like going into the event before Black Ops 3.
Orlando?
Yeah, and then I joined their team instead, and then they dropped me right before roster lock for champs, and I was like, oh shit. I don't know what to do now.
What about SlasheR for you? Is it finals last year?
I think attending last year. No, I'm just kidding. I think the biggest regret was not talking Pat into picking up Dylan in AW, even though I tried. I didn't.
That is not how that went down.
I tried so hard, and then Dylan had the best event of his career.
That's not how that went down at all.
Wait, I can bring up text messages.
That far back?
You suggested Parasite to begin with, and I was looking into Dylan, but Denial. He was contracted with Denial and had a buyout.
$5,000. I was going to pay him myself to get him on my team.
Why don't you do that, Doug?
I think
he was so good.
But at that
he
time,
was really. Well, you guys might have won the event.
At that time, though, like convincing
Or
orgs to
Parasite.
buy out players. Well, no, but at that time, convincing orgs to buy out players for like $5,000 was a little like it hadn't been done. We weren't to that step yet in Call of
been a
Duty.
good investment.
I was going to pay it
Well, they wouldn't have
myself,
known it.
and I didn't have money back then. I was going to pay that myself.
I didn't have money back.
Oh, if it was me, you, App, and Dylan?
Yeah. 2 regrets from me. I'm going to skip over you because your opinion right now is irrelevant. Number 1 was in Ghost when we pre-land Optic Gaming. Optic Gaming was like a top 12 team. We were by far the best team in Call of Duty, way better than his Complexity God Squad. And because we scrimmed Optic Gaming for 4 days in a row, they ended up beating us in the tournament and knocking us to losers. We never got to play Complexity at the tournament. So that's why they won it.
Okay, first off, that's not why. You
Number one.
literally
Number
got
two.
worse playing a worse team.
Number 2 was in AW when we won the first event with Pat. And I knew right after we had to drop the guy because he just didn't care anymore. Like, he completed his business. He cared more about knocking out Optic and winning that chip than he cared about anything else.
Wait,
I knew going
winning
to the
that
champs
what?
What I wanted to do with the roster was keep App, keep Austin, drop Pat, pick up Hook as our sub because he was only 16 years old, so our sub player in the league, and then have Attach as our fourth. So it would have been me, App, Austin, and Attach for champs. Guaranteed championship.
Okay.
Would have been a back-to-back. Call me J-Cap, 2 rings. We're now ringless.
It's your year. It's your year.
Yeah.
Pat, anything that really stands out as far as champs regret?
Letting Parasite run us up. I think that was like our biggest thing. Just because Chris is good, don't get me wrong, he's just an AR player,
You
but
guys were all AR players in that team for the most part.
we were like a lot of
Always
flexes.
disgusting with a sub though. On Biolab against,
Well, that was like 3 sub map though.
yeah, well, we ran 4.
Yeah,
On Biolab against TR, I went like 44 and 40.
I remember that.
Winners or losers finals.
At AW, we were like literally 4 flexes
Yeah,
going into that
yeah.
event. But
That was tough.
All right, well, we got a couple more questions to get through, but I enjoyed those answers. All right, so I just, real briefly, kind of mostly from you two. You've got a lot of champs experience. You've won tournaments. Well, you've won champs. How much value do you think that adds to like your teammates that haven't? Like, if you have a teammate, like a young teammate, and they don't have the experience of champs, like how much does it help to have a player like SlasheR, a player like ACHES on the team?
well, I don't have a young teammate, so Austin.
Okay, so TJ, perfect example.
So how much does it help having me on the team?
Yeah, for champs specifically.
I mean, well, it helps having me on the team a lot.
Did you see the stats beforehand?
I mean, I don't really know. I think TJ doesn't really think about that too much. I mean, it definitely does help knowing that you can trust in me to like show up and perform well. Like, due to the past, I've done really well at champs, but I think the experience more so helps like me than like my teammates because like I've been here, I know what to do, what
So
to
more an
expect.
individual thing.
Yeah. So like, I've already got that first champs like jitters out of the way. This is my 4th one now, so it's just like it's almost like another tournament to me. So I can just show up and play my game.
All right, interesting. That makes sense. Okay, 1-word answers out of you guys. You have to pick a team that's going to win champs that is not your team. So basically, who's your favorite outside of your team? Accuracy, go.
Rise.
Probably pick TK.
Pat.
Complexity.
That's the obvious answer. Come on, give something.
Did Doug just say complexity again?
Evil Geniuses.
That's a pretty good pick.
There's some collusion over here for sure. Okay, the first 2 answers made sense. We have one last segment before we hop into the CWL Championship, and this is Community Comms. You guys ask questions on Twitter with the hashtag CWLPS4, and we love to ask the guys kind of their thoughts on your particular topic. So let's start it off. I believe the first one's going to be for Censor. Now, Doug, obviously there's been a lot of talk about you winning champs, focusing on champs. This question comes from Helma00. I have no idea to say that.
I'm Alex.
Let's say Complexity places last in the bracket. Will you still compete in Black Ops 4?
Yes.
Wow, that was quick.
So that's getting top 16.
No hesitation.
And that was really easy to read. Hi, I'm Alex. I was reading the 0-0 part below, and I was like, what does this say? Yes,
I think
that's
that
it?
doesn't
Yes?
matter what he places in with how fast he answered. He's playing next year.
Okay.
Well, I'm curious, Doug, are you planning to stick around under the Complexity banner?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, well, he's got it all planned out already.
Okay. All right. Well, Doug is still competing. All right. Next one's for Akes. How do you feel your team matches up with Optic? Do you think you can upset them again?
The Abby. Come on.
What are you laughing about?
That was me doing your favorite celebration.
In this game, it's interesting. I think we both have strong respawns and like hit or miss search and destroys. I think our S&D is better than theirs, though. It's going to be interesting because I've never played Optic in group play at champs. It's always been late in the loser bracket.
Could you briefly sort of take us through your history versus Optic? Because a lot of people talk about you beating Optic at champs, like just for a new viewer. Like,
Okay, yeah, so 2013 was, man, I'd like to skip over that one. We lost in losers semifinals for top 3. We went game 5, round 11. Scump ended up picking too quick, watching our flank, and then come behind us and 3-piecing us.
Since then, you've owned the series, haven't you, at champs?
Yeah, so then into Ghost, we win in winners finals. We won 3-2. It was kind of close, but I mean, if anyone remembers, it was like an S&D that got reset like 6 times. A 7-8 blitz was super close. After that was a W with Austin, where we eliminated them for top.
That one wasn't close.
That was like one of the fastest series of the event.
I thought it was going to be close, but that was probably one of our easier series, which is crazy to think about.
And then in Black Ops 3 was with my Cloud9 team, Assault, Rick, and Lace, where we went, again, Game 5, Round 11.
I think that's still one of my more memorable moments at Champs. Like, it wasn't even on the main stage. It was like behind the stage, but I just never. It was so packed, and everyone.
Well, that series was like the epitome of Optic, where we lost both hard points. We lost. It was Uplink and Hardpoint. We won 2 S&Ds round 11 and beat them pretty convincingly in a CTF. Yeah,
that defines Optic.
And then last year, I'm sorry to say we didn't play them, so they ended up winning, but. We'll see how it goes.
That's the only reason.
I needed you one time.
But yeah, every event I've played Optic, every single Champs.
That's wild. We know you're going to because it's in groups.
Except for the last one.
Who knows? Maybe you'll match up in bracket play after it's all said and done at some point, which I know that I would love to see. But let's get to the next one. This is going to be for SlasheR. He wants to know what do you think your biggest weakness? I don't know if he's referring to you or your team. I'm going to assume team because you don't have a weakness. I was just kidding. I just knew you'd bring up your stats if I said you did.
Team-wise, I don't know what our biggest weakness is. Individually, it's closing out and getting streaks. There's so many times I'm at 500 points and I don't get but just a glide bomb.
Well, that's
like
a stat.
Getting the full fighter pilot, I'm terrible at it.
That's a stat I really wanted to, and I think I hit up JP, and he didn't know if we could. But like, I want that so bad. Like, I get the Crim 6 like has the most earned, but I want to know like when someone gets to pick a number, 500 points.
Yeah.
Like what's the percentage of them closing out on streaks? I would love to know that.
Like, I don't know if this is true or not, but I probably have the craziest games without getting streaks. Like, I'll have, like, plus 10 games where I didn't get streaks.
Well, don't you have the highest win percentage when you do get streaks?
When I do get streaks,
so are you
it's
saying
like
that you've been costing your team by getting up to
I know, I got to
500?
get streaks. That's what I'm saying. I got to get streaks. No, I'm really good at getting the glide bomb. It's that
extra kill.
That kill and a half.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's more than just one extra kill to get the full fighter pilot. I don't know. Especially online, I'm really bad at it. So that's my biggest weakness.
Okay. All right. Well, last question. This will be for accuracy. With the World War II season almost over, which player do you think, or I guess it might be for everybody, but we'll ask you for now. Which one do you think will be considered the best player overall in World War II? So
Kenny.
I knew. Okay,
Kenny.
If he didn't have to say Kenny.
Even if I didn't have to say Kenny, I would still say Kenny. Kenny is the best player in World War II.
And he's another guy. It's like
he's definitely been the most consistent sub for sure.
But who do we like? Okay,
he plays the most impactful role and he does it the best.
Doug, do you remember anyone like that in the past where it's like their breakout year and then also they're like the best player in the game?
No, I would have to agree. I think Kenny's been the best.
In that role.
Yeah, I guess Gunless is a good answer too.
I'd say.
Is this really Kenny's? Were you considered a breakout?
He went to like 2 events in AW. He went to like 2 events. Or 3.
I think you have to call this like his rookie year.
He went to 3 events at the end of AW.
Well, he also played all of Ghost S&D, played competitive AW.
That's why I don't know. It's kind of like a weird thing.
I guess I don't start there I don't start till they're involved with like CWL more. That's like when I don't really think about S&D tournaments.
And then I guess Gunless and IW, even though he's been playing as long as Nameless. I don't know. I'm
That's true.
No, but no, that's nuts. I think Kenny's a good answer for it. We'll have to wait and see who's going to ultimately be able to take it. But, guys, thanks for hanging out. We went through all the groups. We kind of talked some stats throughout the year. We talked MVP cases and scenarios. But now it's time to get into the biggest event of the year. It's the 2018 CWL Championship. And real quick, just again, we're going to take a look at the schedule. Just for your alpha matches. There are a lot more matches going to be going on. We're going to hop between them, show you guys as much as we can. But there are some big matches that all kick off with Team Caliber versus Lightning Pandas. TK, your reigning champs from Stage 2 playoffs. Theory, he won the first 2 tournaments with Team Caliber. Looking to maybe bring some noise, get the upset here. It's gonna be interesting. But guys, thank you all for coming on the show. It's been a blast. I'm excited for champs. It's been a long year. This is our last hot mic till last year.
It's been a fast year.
Very fast.
Well, it's been long but fast, right? Like you think about it, like I look back at like how much COD I've casted, how much you guys have played. It's been nuts, but it all comes down to this. It is the big one. $1.5 million on the line. Who will etch their name in stone? Who will be the MVP? Who will be the top 4 that come out on top? Let's get into the matches.
Optic have never beaten Envy at a Call of Duty World Championship, and now they have to do it twice in a row.
With how much pressure is on these guys and with the venue here, it's going to be extremely difficult to battle back, I think.
All Envy have to do here is win 1 best-of-5 series. 3 maps is all it takes for them to be crowned champion. Optic Gaming strikes first blood.
and Methods are the new Optic Gaming roster. They will look to bounce back this season.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2018 Call of Duty World League Championship.
Fairman, how close is he gets he wins the gunfight!
We are broadcasting you live from Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio.
Stop on the black and Zeko beats it by 3! And this black is surely going to be out.
The top teams in Call of Duty have been competing all year for this moment.
The second. Oh, he finds the third.
It all comes down to this.
32 teams will battle it out for the lion's share of $1.5 million and the chance to be crowned the 2018 Call of Duty World League champion.
They get the final tick, and then they're inside. The gunfight comes in. No! They get the 1 second to get on the hard point to unite.